snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys! So today I'm going to be doing a book review, and the book that I'm going to be reviewing is The Alloy of Law, which is a kind of addition to the Mistborn series. It's not quite in the series, it's set like 3 centuries after the series finishes, so it's kind of an add-on, but yeah, it's by Brandon Sanderson, so let's get started. Now, first I want to mention that this is obviously very different from the Mistborn series. Even though it's set in the same world, the world has moved on, the technology has advanced drastically, the powers and the sort of discoveries that they've made during the time from Mistborn till the Alloy of Law are huge, and they've got a lot more ideas about metals and sort of the things that they can do and the way that things can be blended together and make new things and so on. So this is definitely a much more advanced version of the powers, and things have definitely progressed. Now, the main character of this story is actually quite interesting because it's not kind of a typical character. He's quite an old character. Wax is his name. He's actually called Waxillium. He's a lord, but he kind of renounces his title. He goes off into the world and he kind of becomes the lawkeeper. He wants to make sure that there's no bad guys ruining everyone's lives, so he goes off and he kills a lot of these people, brings them in, gets the ransom money, and he is generally trying to improve the world. But then he gets told he has to come back to his house because his uncle has died and he needs to take over the family name and learn how to be a lord, and that kind of ruins his lawkeeper appearance. But of course, when you have someone who is very set in their way and they want to improve the world and they want to make things better and they have their own sort of powers, which are definitely advanced, as I say, you can't really take that out of him just by telling him to be a lord. So he does get up to mischief, and there are things that come along that kind of encourage him to go back to his older ways of life and incorporate them into his new life as a lord and sort of blend the whole situation together into one. One of the aspects that I really did enjoy in this book was the idea of harmony, because that is kind of how the trilogy ends, and we know very, very little about what is going to happen with the world at the end of Mistborn. So that really is interesting to see how things have developed and how this godlike figure has been created after that world. So that was a really lovely addition to the story, and I definitely could see the personality from the Mistborn trilogy kind of coming through in this, and I could imagine and picture the person in this. If you've read Mistborn, you will know what I mean. And yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect, and I felt like that was very convincing and very intriguing and something I really hadn't seen before, so that was lovely. Basically, the things that I really enjoyed were anything that sort of linked back and harked back to the Mistborn trilogy, because I am in love with that series, and all the magical systems and the advanced technologies and things that just kind of harked back to that in their own way were definitely intriguing and interesting to me more than anything else, and I found them to be compelling, and the whole situation was very reminiscent. And the sort of central city has been renamed Elendil, which is obviously harking back to Elend from the Mistborn, and it's all very, very reminiscent, so I really, really enjoyed that. As always with Brandon Sanderson, there are illustrations in his books, so there is a map, and I always love that in a fantasy story. I think that that just makes it, so definitely happy to have that included, and the artwork on the cover fits in beautifully with the Mistborn books, so definitely I love that. Sam Green is an amazing illustrator, and I cannot even begin to describe how much I love the UK edition covers for all of Brandon Sanderson's books. Another one of the characters who I really enjoyed was Wayne. I thought that he was absolutely hilarious. Some scenes are just so witty and intelligent and funny that you just have to laugh out loud, and I definitely enjoyed his quirky personality because he really kind of brought Wax, who is a little bit more stuck up and stuck in his own way, sort of into the future a bit, and made him laugh and made him have a little bit more of a personality that we could kind of connect with. I did enjoy this story, but not as much as I hoped that I would. after reading the Mistborn series and absolutely loving it, I really hoped that this would be kind of an extension and a whole new perspective, which it was, but the characters kind of let it down for me. The characters were very well developed, but because they're a lot older than some of the characters who we meet in Mistborn, I really couldn't connect with them in a way that I did with the ones in Mistborn, and I definitely feel like they were somewhat disconnected in some of the scenes in the book, but that didn't detract too much, and I ended up giving it a 3-star rating, which is still pretty good. So I do recommend that you read this if you read the Mistborn books, because I definitely think that the extension of the world is really interesting to see, and I just enjoyed going back into the world and seeing how it kind of developed. And yeah, I would highly recommend this if you have read the Mistborn books. If you haven't, I wouldn't, because it does have a little bit of, not spoilers, but sort of if you read this you can probably guess what's going to happen in Mistborn. So I would advise you to read the Mistborn books before you read this, even though it is kind of a standalone based in the same world. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you have read the book and you want to leave me your comments, please do so. If you are going to leave spoilers, put spoiler at the top of your comment just so that no one else gets spoiled by it. But I will definitely be happy to chat with you guys in the comments down below about this book, because as always I love to discuss the books that I read. So I will see you all in my next video. Bye! Me and you gonna have a little